Alright, today we are from Group 2 would like to present our group project, which is critical thinking in how social media affect two different generations. Okay, before that, this is our group members. We are consist of 10 students. Alright, this is our project contents, which is consists of 5, which is introduction, positive and negative of heavy social media, positive and negative pre-social media, and what we get from that, and the last but not least is the conclusion. Alright, for the next slide, what is critical thinking? Critical is from Greek word which means kritikos or means discernment. So critical thinking is a type of thinking in which we question, analyze and assess what we read, hear, say or write rather than taking things for granted. On the other hand, critical is also ability to objectively assess information and develop a reasoned decision is referred to as critical thinking. It entails assessing information from a variety of sources, including statistics, facts, observable occurrences, and research findings.
They usually think of something by relating them to something else. So right here we have the example of a Greek philosopher Hippocrates. He explained to his people about his theory, and some might be disagree with him or think he's some sort of a crazy man. Some might be put a bounty on his head because of his nonsense talking. But when he related his topic to something that is useful to strengthen his opinion, then the people will realize that he is a very wise man talking sense. As for the current generation, they usually think critically by discover what is the most efficient way and the most beneficial way to solve. For example, right here, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and other billionaires nowadays, they usually perform 30 minutes to 1 hour of meditation. During the meditation, this is the most suitable time, or as they call the golden time. Say what you want to achieve on that day and think the way of achieving it. After they meditate, only then they will do their work and try to achieve that daily goals. So roughly, these people really value their time and their meditation to completely use 100% of their brain. It's not so very important for a person to learn facts. He can learn them from books. The value of an education in a liberal arts college is not the learning of many facts, but the training of the mind to think something that cannot learn from textbooks.
Now, we're moving on to the heavy social media generation. This segment on the slide is going to introduce you about the opinions about heavy social media generation that we have collected through our surveys, and some of them from our opinions alone. So, how does the social media affect their lifestyle? Meaning that this generation, the social media generation or the Gen Z generation, and their physiological thinking. Does it differ from the previous generations, which are less tech savvy? And we are also gonna cover the pros and cons of this generation and things between those lines. Okay, now for the positives. Some of the positives that we can appreciate from the social media heavy generation is that mental health promotion is more spread out through the web. Other than that, acting as a platform for sources of the world's information, whether it be news or just knowledge that is not available in your average library. Okay, for the description for the first point, there is promotion of mental health. So, social media can act as a platform for people to discover different ideologies and spread mindfulness towards emotional well-being, hence leading to the increase of self-esteem in the society regarding their disabilities, low self-impression, sickness, and sexuality. Okay, for this generation, when they open social media, they can see others that have the same situation as them, right? They are having insecurities about themselves, about their facial perfection. So they look at others who are proud with their faces and their bodies, and have not shaming others for their lackness of perfection. So they gain confidence from this, and they can act and they can move on to their life more confidently. Okay, now for the description of the second point, which is the social media acts as a platform for work information. So as we know, social media also sources us with plenty of knowledge to educational content creators may be applicable in our life or not. With this, it creates a fast network of information exchange between people across the globe. So imagine that you are in Malaysia right now and want to know about the situation that is occurring in the other Islamic countries like Palestine, Gaza, and so on. So by looking in the social media, you can see the situations of other countries and the threat towards what we have and what we don't have.
Okay, so we move on to the next part, which is the negative sides of the heavy social media generation. There are two actually we have found the main ideas or the main negative that we have researched about, which is wastage of time and the trend addiction. Firstly, heavy social media generation tend to waste their time on the social media really hard. It is because social media actually offers free, effortless, and quick entertainment for the society, and the human brain actually will get addicted easily due to the dopamine that produced by the brain, and it will lead to the endless hours on the phone daily, like some cases or some condition where students actually tend to scroll the TikTok more rather than studying, and most of the students have the tendency to play the mobile games, the video games more rather than to do the essential, and actually it makes their priority actually really broken, and the accumulation of the wasted hours actually could have been spent to honing our skills or increasing our knowledge. On the heavy social media generation is they are really associated with social media and really attracted to the trends that are viral on the social media worldwide, whether it was made by an influencer or just got famous because of the netizens or because of all the people just doing it, they just follow it. Some might be fooled into hopping on this bandwagon to achieve some imaginary validation from others, where sometimes teenagers especially tend to love to have really much likes, where we can see they want validation for others in the form of likes, shares, or comments. It is because it is because maybe when they got much or really a lot of like, they will will be proudly say that, oh, a lot of people know me, a lot of friends, I got a lot of maybe fans also. So that's just some imaginary validation that we should avoid it. Additionally, some of this trend can get a bit inappropriate. Like there's a trend that I remember which boys or girls just blindlessly or shamelessly share their negative side or the dark side of the family or their friends, which is really not good because it's actually our privacy. We should not interrupt or disturb it. And remember that what goes into the website, there are some things that what will go viral of other people share in it that you actually don't want it to be shared, but people will likely to share it without you knowing it. Yes.
Let's move on to the opinion about pre-social media generation. Okay, there are a few opinions and speculations regarding this generation, either positive or negative. Okay. One of the positive opinions on the pre-social media generation is that they don't rely and depend too much on social media. They love to interact with each other in the real world. Families would spend their time with each other, socializing and interacting physically. This means that they have more quality time with their family members. They do not need social media as a platform to express themselves as they would favor physical interaction more. This may be since the internet and social media are not as developed and diverse like nowadays. On the contrary, the heavy social media generation such as youngsters and teens are much more dependent on social media. Youngsters rely too much on social media that they often neglect their responsibility and obligations as a child and student. Nowadays, these teens and youngsters often use social media as a platform to perform unimportant acts such as revealing their daily activities, location and even their feelings. Hence, this proves that the pre-social media generation are much more independent towards social media compared to the heavy social media generation. The next positive opinion regarding the pre-social media generation is that they are not addicted to social media. Not only that, the lack of reliance for phones and social media makes nomophobia rates among them significantly low. This indicates that this generation is much more efficient in a way that aids them to do work much more effective without being addicted to it. However, most of them are not well versed in the IT department, which is works that involve technology such as the internet, social media, and internet. In contrast to youngsters which use their device as if it is an extension of their hand. This is due to their early exposure to electronic devices and social media. Most of them got their hand on phones since 3 to 4 years old. This is one of the causes of nomophobia in youngsters. In conclusion, addiction to social media and nomophobia is less prominent in the pre-social media generation. And the last positive opinion in regards to the pre-social media generation is that they are able to use social media wisely. They can use social media to an extent, but they are not fully dependent on it. They also use other alternatives and sources to execute their work efficiently without relying too much on the internet and social media. Plus, they are able to learn and take advantage of social media so that they are not caught up in bad things. For instance, some people use social media such as Instagram and Facebook as a platform to conduct their business. Others use social media as a means to gain access to information. In comparison, youngsters or heavy social media generation are not able to differentiate the positive and negative impact of social media in their lives. Most of them deny the existence of the bad side of social media without even realizing that they are in it. Thus, the pre-social media generation is wiser in using the social media and are able to utilize it a way that increases their efficiency.
negative opinions of the pre-social media generation. First is they worry too much of the trend. The pre-social media worry excessively on trends that are running around social media. Trends like pranking people and trends that involve sexual content. These trends give a bad impression on social media trends. Other than that, they are not able to utilize social media to its full extent. This generation may think that social media bring about negative impacts and costs, and this is the cause of why they are not interested in social media generally. The pre-social media, some of them also become keyboard warriors, which is a person who makes abusive or aggressive posts on and comments on the internet. They may have become like this due to their speculations on the younger generations on social media and only see the bad side of social media without really doing proper research or information gathering.
Moving on to the next LO of the presentation, which is what can we learn from this topic.
Mental health is one of the consequences of heavy usage of social media. It causes anxiety, depression, and lowered self-esteem.
Now let's have a look at the functions of social media. So basically here we inserted a statistic showing different apps or different social media that have been used by people nowadays. So basically the major function of social media remains same to every generation, which is to connect you with other people all around the world. So firstly, for baby boomers, they tend to use the social media as a platform to keep in touch with their family. Meanwhile, Gen X, they use the social media as the source of inspiration for new projects and problem solving. As we can see in social media nowadays, it's not only for fun, but some of the channel also share some useful information for the students or even for the workers, such as life hacks. Next, we have the millennials generation, where they use the social media for networking and dating. Lastly, we have Generation Z that may use social media up to 5 different apps such as TikTok, Instagram, WhatsApp, Twitter, and Snapchat. And most of the apps basically have the same purpose, which is to connect you with other people, even with people that you don't even know in the real life.
Next, we're gonna talk about how to minimize negative effect. Firstly, we should minimize our time using social media. Secondly, we may unfollow any account that affect us mentally. Next, we should also block our friends' posts if its content is hurting us. Moreover, stop using the phone for a while if you are tired and depleted in mood. Furthermore, we should spend our time with the loved one. Do some activities such as exercise, getting fresh air after a period of time. By other means, get to know the real. Last but not least, you should report the account if it's abused you verbally or cyberbullying.
So now we go to the next slide, which is conclusion. Critical thinking. In conclusion, we have examined what critical thinking is and how it involves more than simply being critical. Understanding critical thinking helps in formulating and studying arguments. We practice critical thinking every day, often without any extra effort. Now, whenever you find yourself in hotspot, you should find that you can put together more persuasive arguments that avoid the pitfall of fallacious thinking. Always critically thinking and examine any argument you confront, and remember that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is a fallacious argument.
Critical thinking is, in short,
self-directed, self-disciplined, self-monitored, and self-corrective thinking. It prosecutes assent to rigorous standards of excellence and mindful command of their use. It entails effective communication and problem-solving abilities and a commitment to overcome our native egocentrism and sociocentrism. Taken from Richard Paul and Linda Elter, The Miniature Guide to Critical Thinking Concepts and Tools, Foundation for Critical Thinking, Press, 2008. Thank you. Thanks for watching.